Welcome to Christ Tech. My name is Serene Turpin. Millennials say, I need to throw in a towel and move out of the way. It's their time now. Gen Z said, you might as well lay down and die. Your days are done. Your time to shine is over. I'm up next. The world is telling me I'm no longer young. I'm Generation X. I'm a waste of their advertising dollars. Society has placed me in this high-risk category, and they say the coronavirus is my boogeyman, and it's coming to get me. Come out wherever you are. No matter what these skeptics say, I still believe there's a lot left in me. I still have dreams. I still have ambitions. I still believe God can create something out of nothing. I still believe there's a value in me. I still believe there's value in you. I still believe God wastes nothing, and there is untapped potential in you and me that is yet to be explored. Against all hope, and regardless of our circumstances, regardless of our critics, I still believe me and you, can be champions for God. Come see why. Society lives by these Darwinian rules. Survival of the fittest. It used to be the older you get, the more experience and wisdom you have to share with the younger generation. You were the matriarch, the patriarch. You were big mama. You were auntie. You were papa. You were nana. You were abuelita. You were valued. You were respected. Nowadays, your worth decreases with your age. During the height of the coronavirus, I'm hearing stories on how hospital resources were allocated to you according to the likelihood of your survival. If you were older, you were considered more vulnerable to the disease. And if you have pre-existing conditions, the Darwinian rhetoric increases. However, in the US, in China, in Italy, in India, in the UK, just to name a few, there were stories of 90-year-olds who survived the Great Depression, who survived world wars, who survived the Spanish flu. Now they added to their undefeated record, I beat COVID-19. What does that mean? I'm glad you asked. It means when man says you can't, God says you can. It means no one can or should write you off because all things are possible with God. There are no twilight years in God's kingdom. There's no pictures of you relying on pets for comfort and companionship. God says, never will I leave you or forsake you. As you grow older in your relationship with God, He considers you a delicacy, this kingdom fruit that He has cultivated and ripened until maturity. The New Living Translation describes the condition of Abraham and Isaac at the later stages of their life as being of a ripe old age. God looks at you as an accumulator of years because in the scriptures, God considers you not just old, but He considers you full of years. When you have walked with God for a long time, He considers you to be advancing in years. And advancing means to move forward in a purposeful way. Gray hair is not the beginning of the end in God's kingdom. That salt and pepper hair, that tinge of platinum is a sign of righteousness. It's a crown of splendor. When you see signs of gray hair, that means now you're really starting to transform into the Imago Dei. Now you're becoming a depiction of the splendor of the Ancient of Days. Now you're really starting to resemble how God sees Himself. In Mark 9:3 and in Daniel 7:9, it describes God's glory causing His bright light. And this visual can only be processed by the human mind as God's clothes being whitened and God's hair having the appearance of a supernatural bleaching. So when people question you about not dyeing your hair, you let them know I'm being transformed into the image of Christ. You let them know.
Champion, I know that you're seeing a little gray, but I'm a champion. I know that you doubting because my age, but I'm a champion. I conquered, defeated, and never retreated. I'm a champion. I know that you're seeing a little gray, but I'm a champion. I know that you doubting because my age, but I'm a champion. I conquered, defeated, and never retreated. I'm a champion. I'm a champion.
Your best days are not behind you. Age actually is just a number in the kingdom of God. That's why God says in Ecclesiastes 7:10, don't say yesterday was better than today. Don't think the past is better than your future. I'm not done with you yet. You don't age out of leadership in God's kingdom. Your value doesn't decrease with age in God's kingdom. Age is not a factor when determining God's calling on your life. God said to Jeremiah, before you were born, I knew you. In other words, before your age was even part of the equation, I had plans for you in the works. The Apostle Paul put it this way. In Philippians 1, he says, no matter how long it takes, God will bring to completion the good work he started in you. That's why, at the age of 90, Sarah had the confidence to prepare a nursery, not for her grandkids, but for herself. New life emerged from her decaying body. That's why Abraham, at the age of 80, had the courage to muster up an army. And Abraham also had the audacity to lead them into war against 4 kings, 4 different kingdoms, in order to rescue his nephew Lot. Abraham knew he couldn't die because God's purpose for him had not been fulfilled yet. That's why, in the midst of suffering, there's an inexpressible hope and joy in God that keeps you going. It keeps picking you back up. That's why you still have some fight left in you. Caleb said, I'm just as vibrant and invigorated in my 80s as I was in my 40s. Caleb said, with God by my side, I can defeat the giants that stand in my way because God makes me a champion.
Champion, I know that you see in a little gray, but I'm a champion. I know that you doubting because my age, but I'm a champion. Conquered, defeated, and never retreated. I'm a champion. I know that you see in a little gray, champion. I know that you doubting because my age, but I'm a champion. Conquered, defeated, and never retreated. I'm a champion. You 20, so what? You still an amateur.
In Psalm 37:25, David said, I was young, but now I'm old. But there was something I noticed. I never see the righteous starving. They always have enough to lend to others. It takes time for Christ to form within you. It takes time to transform you into championship material. God activates some people early on in life, and God activates others at later stages of their life. God is like, no matter when I call you into my service, don't despise the day of small beginnings. The prophet Elijah wrestled with God in prayer for rain. 7 times he prayed, and all he got for his struggle was a cloud the size of a man's fist. But that cloud was a seed, and the seed became a storm, and the storm watered the land and stopped the drought. This was the same Elijah that defeated 400 prophets of Baal because Elijah trusted in God and not himself. God used him in a powerful way. Elijah was God's champion.
Be the heavyweight champ at the age of 4-5. Crowd screaming out your name, feeling like we George Foreman, keeping your hope alive. Champion. Champion. But I'm a champion. Champion. I know that you see in a little gray, but I'm a champion. I know that you doubting because my age, but I'm a champion. Conquered, defeated, and never retreated. I'm a champion. I know that you see in a little gray, but I'm a champion. I know that you doubting because my age, but I'm a champion. Conquered, defeated, and never retreated. I'm a champion. Put my foot to the metal, man. I can still pedal, man.
In Ecclesiastes 9:11, it says, the race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. Now is the time of God's favor. Today is the day Jesus gives you a chance to know him better. Will you take it?
I heard it's not a country for old men, but glitches in the matrix we open. Champion. I know that you see in a little gray, but I'm a champion. I know that you doubting because my age, but I'm a champion.
Thank you for checking out my channel, Christ Tech. As always, I'm just a technician in the kingdom of God. My job is to connect you, reconnect you, or provide the maintenance that keeps you up and running for Jesus. If you're still here and you're still listening to this, I think it's a good time right now for you to hit that like button and subscribe down below. Thank you.